If you have ever started a new workout program expecting to look dramatically different in 30 days and then felt completely demoralized when your reflection at the end of that month looked almost identical to how it looked at the beginning, then this video is going to give you the most important reframe in all of fitness. Not because it will tell you how to build muscle faster, but because it will tell you exactly how fast muscle actually builds in a natural human body. Why that rate is not a failure of your effort or your genetics, and how understanding the real biological timeline of muscle growth is the single most powerful psychological tool you can have for staying consistent long enough to build the physique that your training is absolutely capable of producing, if you give it the time the biology requires. The first thing you need to understand is that there are two completely different processes happening when you begin a new training program that are both real, both measurable, but that occur on dramatically different timelines and are almost universally confused with each other. The first process is neural adaptation, where your central nervous system learns to recruit motor units more efficiently, increases the firing rate of motor neurons, improves intermuscular coordination between agonist and antagonist muscle groups, and reduces the inhibitory signals from Golgi tendon organs that previously limited force production as a protective mechanism. And these neural adaptations produce the strength increases you experience in the first 4 to 8 weeks of training that feel like muscle growth but are primarily neurological in origin, explaining why beginners get significantly stronger before they get significantly bigger, and why a beginner can add 20 to 30% to their squat in the first month without adding a meaningful amount of muscle tissue. The second process is actual structural hypertrophy, the addition of new contractile proteins actin and myosin to existing muscle fibers, the increase in satellite cell nuclei density that expands each fiber's protein synthesis capacity, and the growth in fiber cross-sectional area that produces the visible size increase you are training for. And this process operates on a timeline that is governed by the rate of muscle protein synthesis minus muscle protein breakdown, a net balance that in optimal conditions for a natural beginner produces approximately 0.5 to 1 kilogram of actual muscle tissue per month, which sounds modest but represents genuinely significant physiological change when you understand that 1 kilogram of pure muscle tissue added to your frame is a measurable, visible, permanent structural change that took your body enormous biological resources to produce. Research by Lyle McDonald on natural muscle gain rates, which remains one of the most cited frameworks in evidence-based fitness, establishes that natural male lifters can expect to gain approximately 9 to 11 kilograms of muscle in their first year of optimal training, 4 to 5 kilograms in year 2, 2 to 3 in year 3, and approximately 1 to 2 kilograms per year as an advanced natural lifter approaching their genetic ceiling. And these numbers represent maximum rates achievable under optimal conditions, sufficient protein intake, consistent progressive overload, adequate sleep, managed stress, and caloric surplus. Meaning, most people will achieve rates somewhat below these maximums because real-life conditions are never perfectly optimal, and understanding this reality is not discouraging. It is liberating, because it means that any consistent month of good training and nutrition is producing the maximum muscle growth your biology allows, regardless of whether you can see it in the mirror yet. The reason you cannot see monthly muscle growth in the mirror is a perceptual phenomenon called change blindness, combined with the reality that 1 kilogram of muscle distributed across your entire body, your chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, adds perhaps 2 to 3 millimeters of thickness to each muscle group, which is below the threshold of visual detection when you see your own body every day, yet is clearly visible in monthly photo comparisons, because the cumulative change across 4 weeks is large enough to register perceptually when you compare before and after images rather than relying on daily mirror observation. Which is why taking monthly progress photos is not vanity. It is the only accurate perceptual tool available for tracking muscle growth at the rate it actually occurs. The psychological framework that determines whether you stay consistent long enough to experience compounding muscle growth over years is what Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck identifies as a growth mindset applied specifically to physical development. The belief that your physique is not a fixed genetic expression, but a dynamic biological system that responds to training and nutrition inputs over time, and the research on self-efficacy and long-term behavior change by Albert Bandura confirms that individuals who understand the mechanism of the change they are pursuing, in this case the precise biological timeline of muscle growth, show dramatically higher adherence rates than individuals who pursue change based on vague motivational beliefs, because mechanistic understanding provides a rational basis for continuing behavior during periods when emotional motivation is absent, which is every period beyond the first few weeks of any new program when novelty-driven dopamine has faded, and the only thing sustaining the behavior is an understanding of why continuing is worth it. Build muscle as fast as your biology allows by training with progressive overload on compound movements 3 to 4 times per week. Eating 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily. Sleeping 7 to 9 hours as your primary anabolic hormone optimization strategy. Maintaining a modest caloric surplus of 200 to 300 calories above maintenance. Measuring your progress with monthly photos and strength metrics rather than daily mirror checks. And most critically, accepting with complete clarity that you are building the most permanent and meaningful physical transformation available to a natural human body. It just requires 12 months to see what most people expect to see in 30 days. And the gap between those two timelines is not a biological limitation. It is the filter that separates the people who build genuinely impressive natural physiques from the people who quit before the biology had the time it always needed to do exactly what it was always going to do